weird video games.
Street Fighter II: The World Warrior is one of the most influential games of all time. Yep, review over, right? Almost every tournament-style fighting game ever since has heavily relied on tropes that Street Fighter II created, and this is not a small genre. As a direct result of the success of Street Fighter II, we now have 10 Mortal Kombats, 11 Fatal Furies, 4 World Heroes, 3 Art of Fightings, 20 King of Fighters, 10 Samurai Showdowns, 3 Darkstalkers, 3 Fighters Histories, 3 Killer Instincts, 7 Power Instincts, and 3 Clay Fighters, as well as more crossovers and one-offs than I can name, plus a bunch of fighting games that were shoehorned into existing franchises, and of course Shaq Fu. So while the game is weird when you think about it, the formula has been copied over and over again to the point that it's become kind of normal now, right down to all the once unique nonsense that it pioneered. Some of you at this point might be saying, wait a minute, this is Street Fighter 2. Wouldn't all this weirdness have started with Street Fighter 1? Well, yes, the first Street Fighter did have some weird stuff that carried over, like characters announcing all their attacks, shooting fireballs made out of chi from their wrists, and gravity-defying martial arts techniques. But keep in mind, these are old ideas you might see in kung fu movies or old wuxia tales. Characters whose complete mastery of martial arts allowed them to transcend what is normally physically possible. They channel an inner energy that can, among other things, make them seem almost weightless and produce physical manifestations of energy, but only if they say what they're doing out loud? I don't know. But it's not anything new. That's the conceit of the setting, so it's really not that weird. What is weird? Well, how about the fact that Chun-Li can jump off the edge of the screen as if it's a solid wall? There's clearly no wall there. If you push back, the camera pans over and you can plainly see it's wide open space. The only wall Chun-Li jumps off of is the fourth wall. And hey, you know how Ken and Ryu shoot fireballs out of their wrists? The fireballs actually seem to contain the essence of their wrists. Wrist souls? Do wrists have souls? What is this? One other thing that's always confused me, this is meant to be a fighting tournament, right? Despite the game being called Street Fighter, it's not really street fighting. It's pretty official looking. Okay, I guess in China it literally takes place in the middle of the street, while people are walking around trying to mind their own business and not get shoryukened. But there's an announcer to declare winners, and set rounds with an established strict time limit, and people take planes all over the world to compete. So now that we've established this is some kind of official world championship, what are the rules? Are there any? For one thing, most fighting tournaments tend to be for one specific style, or for a narrow range of similar styles. This one has wrestling, karate, kung fu, sumo wrestling, muay thai, boxing, being a monster, and yoga. And there tend to be weight classifications. Like, for instance, you wouldn't put a heavyweight up against a lightweight, featherweight, bantamweight, paperweight, ultrafine, single-ply, waterweight, mathlete, subatomic photon, or smurf. But here's a giant Russian muscle museum fighting a man who... Look, you can see his ribcage. He calls it the situation. It's a good thing they don't have to weigh in for this event, because Dhalsim would have to eat himself into a food coma just for the scale to notice someone is standing on it. If Dhalsim gets an X-ray, the machine spits out an all-black image captioned with the words, "Nice try, alien changeling." You can always pick Dhalsim out of a crowd because his shadow is actually a lighter color than the ground around him. You know how Batman has a plan in place to take down every member of the Justice League in case they ever go rogue? In case of a Street Fighter crossover, he also develops special goggles that allow him to see Dhalsim if he turns sideways. If Dhalsim disappears suddenly during a fight, it might be because E Honda inhaled. If Honda exhales and there's still no Dhalsim, check between his teeth. In addition to fighting style, weight, and let's not get into gender because that's a whole can of worms I don't want to step on. Certain techniques tend to be illegal, but here we've got low blows, biting, pile drivers, no-gis, and straight up setting each other on fire. There are no uniforms or any such rule regarding clothes and equipment. Some of these fighters could very well be wearing body armor, some are wearing open gis, and some are pretty much in their underwear. Okay, then how about weapons? I guess weapons aren't allowed since that at least would defeat the purpose of a hand-to-hand fighting tournament, so there you go, there's one rule, no weapons. Except for Vega, he gets a metal claw, but the rest of you, no weapons. Now, of course, all of these things I mentioned have been taken to even more ridiculous extremes in other fighting games. The Mortal Kombat series alone has done all kinds of comical things with the game screen, taken gratuitous vomiting to a whole new level, and has even more bizarrely unfair weapon rules. Yeah, I know Mortal Kombat is by its very title a fight to the death, but at what point does this cease to be a fighting tournament and becomes a straight up gunfight? Why do some characters get nothing, and others get to use machine guns and missiles? This isn't a match, it's dedicating a life of severely exhaustive training to become the world's most impractically processed dog food. And don't get me started on this game. Anyway, Street Fighter 2 started all those trends. Although one thing I haven't seen any of its successors do is a yoga fighter. Even weirder than the other cultural stereotypes, of which there are a lot, Dhalsim kind of takes the cake. Why is yoga considered a martial art? To be fair, his powers do for the most part make sense to me. If mastery of martial arts and chi and whatever allows you to overcome the boundaries of physical limitations, sure, a yoga master can float in the air, but not while fighting, I guess. And his extreme flexibility can apparently let him stretch his arms across the room. Okay, I'm not sure I completely buy that one, but I do get where it's coming from. And I did manage to find a kung fu movie where a guy uses yoga to fight, so advantage Capcom. So, how does he breathe fire? Is that a yoga thing? Is he part dragon? He says yoga fire coherently while his mouth is full of fire somehow. In the same voice as the announcer. I have a lot of questions. It is kind of incredible that so many characters have exactly the same voice as the announcer. And despite the fact that they come from America, India, and Thailand, they all have the same accent. Or maybe I'm misinterpreting it. Is it just the announcer providing commentary, announcing special moves as the characters do them? Well, then is it just Ken and Ryu that announce their attacks? They have a different voice. Than the announcer, I mean, not each other. They're pretty much twins from entirely different races, countries, and cultures. Or maybe they get a special announcer. There's one main announcer, plus a special commentator just to announce Ken and Ryu's moves. I guess you do need some kind of special talent just to pronounce this word. But then there's Chun-Li. Either she's actually yelling Spinning Bird Kick herself, or they have a third announcer just for her, and with her exact same voice. Whatever the answer is to all of this, it's something wacky. By the way, does Honda use magic? The only reason I ask is vis-a-vis the painted mural in his bathroom that comes to life.
Do pardon me, old chap, but there does by all appearances seem to be your blood on my fists.
Oh dear.